blaring out show.
I'm just rolling with the punches.
Where's this hideous plane crash that's happened?
Oh, there's a plane crash?
It was right.
Yeah, some plane crashed into Fairfax.
Actually, right where the corner of this building is, behind it, a little, just further out there, right next to Fairfax High School.
That's what's going on.
A plane fell out of the sky. A small plane.
Are those fans of yours, Rob, do you think?
That big guy there?
Yeah.
I wish he was a fan of mine.
It looks like he is. You know, the thing is I know a lot of your fans are very strong, healthy individuals.
Well, I guess that's a better way of having them than, you know, weak, insipid, kickstand in your face types.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I think that's what's so great about the relationship that this band, the Halford band, has, or any extreme, heavy, hardcore band has. You know, especially when you look at what's happening in the pit.
Oh, well,
there's
you
some
got
brutal, intense muscular activity in the pit, and there's just some
you got to be a survivor.
heavy stuff. You do.
But
I am.
You can take, well, you are.
I am.
But sometimes people get in the pit and they don't realize what they've just gotten themselves into, and welcome to hell.
Well, you know, it's. I think everybody should try it at least once, as I did in my day. Although we didn't really have pits in those days.
No.
Yeah.
I was just watching I was just watching that Led Zeppelin DVD. If you have a chance, get it, because I know
I've got it playing on my laptop right now.
You know
I've got
what?
it playing.
Okay, watch the first show on there from 1970.
I'm watching that right now.
Look at the kids. This
is not a setup.
They are creating headbanging in that thing, and this is way before headbanging was ever happening.
There's one kid that's just obviously just gone to the Royal Albert Hall straight from school, because I think he's just took off his school jacket because he's still got his school tie on, and this kid's head is going. He looks like the guy to the White Stripes. He's just going for it, you know, and this is 1970.
Yeah.
So it's not all that new, and I guess we have to thank the gods of Led Zeppelin for creating that unique thing that's still with us now.
This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show, and today I'm here with the man, the myth, the metal god, Rob Halford. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's nice to be back in Los Angeles again.
Now, how long have you been touring to support the Crucible CD?
Pretty much since it came out about a year ago. In one way or another, we've been all over Europe, in Japan, the States. We're winding things up now here in LA around the House of Blues and a few other venues. And then we're going to do the usual kick back and think of what happened and what went down and where to go next. So it's the end of a pretty wild 12-month ride again.
So now what you're saying is it's winding down.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's winding down, because normally at this point you're so, you know, dog tired. But the great thing is that it's the energy, the creative energy within the band. I mean, we're still a relatively new group. This is only our second studio release, so there's this wonderful feeling of wanting to create and advance and grow. So you know, we'll take that short break, and I'm sure we'll be up and running again.
I think everybody should know it's out there. The live Insurrection double CD set.
Yeah.
What an amazing performance. What at that point in your career, after doing that tour, what made you feel like, hey, this is the time to do a live album?
It was unusual because, I mean, to put it out on the back of the first studio release with a brand new band, it's not the normal way of doing things. But I mean, I don't think there should be any rules in what we do in rock and roll. You know, I mean, no matter what it's about, it's just about where you're feeling and where you're going at that moment. And of course, when we talked about the live release, I was just going through what was my 30th year as a professional metal singer. So what was going to be a few live tracks became a full CD. Then ended up being a double live CD, because it was just this great celebration for not only for myself but for the Halford band, and it's just got this wonderful track record of all of these different songs.
It's great, and the power. You know, so many people say, I don't want to hear it, it's a live record. I'm like, no, you need to listen to this. This will knock your socks off.
No, I understand that, because I would have the same kind of knee-jerk reaction, because it's very, very difficult to capture the essence of any band live.
Absolutely. But you know what? Rob Halford and Judas Priest have always been live acts, and you've always been able to depend on you to pull it off live.
But that's the reason why we felt confident that we would get what we needed for this double live release. And it's great. I mean, you know, I was inspired and motivated by what I did before with my live releases with Priest. The double live CD from Priest was a good record, but the big one, the one that's become like a classic, is Unleashed in the East, which is like in that Peter Frampton Comes Alive vibe. You know, what a great record that is. I mean, if ever there was ever one record that you ever needed, get Unleashed in the East, because it's just magical.
It's a metal must-have.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. You can't. It's intangible, that kind of thing. You can't describe it. You just got to listen to it, and when you're listening, you feel what it means. You know.
Exactly. Unleashed in the East has been remastered along with all the other Judas Priest albums.
Yes.
And also with 2 or 3 more songs on it, which makes it a 13-song. I believe there's 13 songs on Unleashed in the East now. You got Hellbent for Leather on there and a couple other great songs. Tell me, how involved were you in the remasters?
You know, I was out of the loop because of all the great things that I was doing with the Halford band, but the people from the Priest camp were really affordable, and they let me know what was happening as far as the whole idea of remastering, and the idea of pulling in some of these songs that were never released before. The thing for me was that I didn't really feel that out of place, because I knew that whatever they were going to do was going to be amazing, and that's exactly how it turned out to be. That's just because of the love of anything that Priest has created around it. Comes from these people that cherish every moment and put all the time and effort and energy into making it great and making it good. So all of those remasters just sound terrific. You know, I've got the box set myself, obviously, and when I listen to it, it's just like a trip through time for me. If you're a vinyl freak, you'll hate it, because vinyl is the most amazing medium for metal, especially because of the sonics that you get off of vinyl. But I mean, if you're able to push that to one side and understand the great advancement of technology and the way you can transfer the basic idea of vinyl through digital recording transfers, you're not really missing that much.
No.
So I agree. I mean, you are getting some extra defining moments from a remastering session, and everybody's doing it. You know, all the great bands from the past that have an extensive back catalogue, it's becoming common practice now because of the great things that can happen when you do this kind of thing.
It's a point in time where everybody looks back, along with Sabbath. I mean, you guys are the 2 bands that really broke metal and made it what it is. A lot of the younger generation is listening to this stuff, and they're taking notes.
It's just a wonderful feeling of accomplishment. I mean, when you realise that there are other musicians that are inspired by what you've created before, and that you were somehow involved in their ambition to be a musician themselves. And I get it all the time, you know, and that's the greatest compliment that you can get from passing it along. And I'm sure that any of those other bands that you've mentioned would feel the same way too. It's like a journey that never seems to end, you know. I mean, when you start this thing, as I did 32 years ago, I mean, if you'd have told me in 2003 I'd be standing on the balcony of the House of Blues in LA about to go do another gig, I'd think you're crazy. But I mean, this is the wonderful attribute of I guess professionalism and the love and the passion of what you do. If you've got those virtues in your work, it's endless. There is no reason to stop and slow down.
Exactly.
And I've always surrounded myself with people that have that same kind of capacity to
work
feel
ethic.
And think. Yeah, because you can't take it easy. You know, there's an enormous amount of competitive talent around you, and you're only as good as what you're doing now. I mean, it's great to have things that have gone before, but what makes you relevant is your ability to do good things in the present, and that's why I'm so thrilled to be working with such great people in the Halford band, and we're making such great music together, like with Resurrection and with Crucible now.
My question about the Fight album is, how did that come about? You can be quick about it if you want.
All right.
And also, why do you think that was something that didn't last?
Well, first, the whole Fight thing was a very cathartic moment for me, because that was the first thing I'd ever done away from Priest, who I'd been with for 20-odd years. And so it was a very kind of explosive demonstration of basically what was building up inside of me for all of those years prior to me leaving Judas Priest in 91, 92. So I just went straight into a writing recording mode and came up with this name Fight, which is just very simple and straightforward and direct, and again founded, you know, a new generation of really hungry players. And you know, because I wrote all the music for that record and I produced it and I engineered it, I mean, I was so egotistical. I mean, I was just like this, you know, I just think I wanted to be Mike Tyson, and it was a very kind of, it was a very risky thing for me to do, because if it had fallen flat, I'd have, you know, made a complete fool of myself, and it kind of goes against the grain of what I'm about, because all I'm about is teamwork. But for some unknown reason, at that point in time, I just wanted to do everything, and I did, and it just about killed me because it was such an exhaustive effort. But it's a great record.
Oh, man.
You know, I think all of the love of and the striving that was ready to come forth went into that record, and I would have loved for the band to have continued, but you get these little windows of opportunity in the music business. And we just missed out after the release of Small Deadly Space. So I just pulled everything apart and said, you know, let's just see what's going to happen next.
During 1992, you filled the shoes of Ronnie James Dio. I shouldn't say filled the shoes. You were asked to come in and replace him for two shows.
Costa Mesa.
Costa Mesa, legendary shows. There's actually bootlegs out there of the shows.
Yes, I've got one.
Cool. And what was that experience like for you? And were you ever tempted after that experience to collaborate with Geezer or Tony in the future?
Well, I'm just so lucky. I'm just a really fortunate guy that's been involved in some really spectacular moments in rock and roll history, and that was one of them, just down the way from Los Angeles here. And, you know, to stand on stage with this band, you know, two of the biggest bands in my life have been Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, apart from Priest, of course. And I just couldn't believe it, you know. I mean, with these two incredible nights back to back, and I'm on stage, and there's Tony and there's Geezer.
Yeah.
I was just losing my mind, but it was just it was all over too quickly. And it was only when somebody sent me a DVD, a bootleg DVD as well as a bootleg CD, that I was able to kind of understand the potency of that moment. And yeah, me and Tony did talk about doing something, but it never came about, you know. A lot of us want to work together and do stuff, either now or later. I mean, there's always an opportunity
when
that shows
permits.
itself. Yeah, but I was knocked out. I'm just a huge Black Sabbath fan, you know.
Okay, now tell me, let's talk about the Crucible album.
Yes.
Now, how long did it take to record? And how did your vision differ for the Crucible than for the last album?
Just to grow and develop. The second release of any band is an important pivotal moment, because firstly you don't repeat yourself, otherwise it's like shooting yourself in the foot, and that's been my way of working as a musician ever since I began. I'm always looking for new things to do. So the band had been together for a while. We'd gotten closer musically, personally. There was a great feeling of wanting to become a little bit more comprehensive and just show a bit more adventure in the material. And that's basically how we went ahead, you know. I mean, we didn't really have any plans or set ideals. We just knew that all of the stuff that was behind us was the platform on where to go next. So there was no real, you know, let's all sit down and figure this out. It was just, well, we know what we can do. We know what the potential is, and I just wanted to show off more of the flair of the great talent that's in the band. And I think that by comparison, Resurrection was a fantastic record. There were a few moments in there that I wasn't personally 100% happy with, but the bulk of it I was cool with. But on this release, on Crucible, I just love it from start to finish. So it's just, you know, it's a second one of what I hope will be more to come.
Now, how many songs, how are you going to spice the song selection tonight? A little bit of Crucible, a little bit of Priest? I mean, how's it going to work?
Mix it up, you know, that's the challenge when we go into rehearsals in Burbank. We just fire the amps up and look at the list, and everybody throws in their ideas, and we just pull out a set that's really great, you know. I mean, it's just a roller coaster ride emotionally. All the tempos are going in different places. It affords me an opportunity to show off what I can do with the voice still. And by the end of the night, people generally are really satisfied with hearing a little bit of something from everything that I've done. So it's a great moment for me to be at right now in my life as a singer, because I'm lucky again that I can look at this great collection of work and
exactly.
pick up some of the defining moments. And there are a couple of really cool things that we've been doing recently that have been just knocking people out, you know.
Tell me about this song, Wrath of God. What inspired the song, and what is it really saying?
Oh, I think it's if you read the words, I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's a reflection on the September 11th, and this affected humanity on a global level, and especially for creative people. I think we were all so in shock and horror, as everybody was, that some of us were left feeling that we wanted to say something, and I did it twice on this record. Heretic is about the Middle East situation,
cool,
and the Wrath of God is a kind of a solemn, you know, response to what happened in New York City, and like anybody that's been to New York, you fall in love with the place.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the most amazing city in the world to visit, and when you're in New York, you feel like a New Yorker, you know, even if you're a tourist, it just gets into your blood. And so that's basically what that song talks about. It's a testament to the great courage and soul of the people of New York City and everybody else that was involved in that horrible tragedy.
Sunday night, you will be recording a live DVD, or live Halford DVD, correct?
Yes, down at Anaheim, yeah.
Tell me how this came about, and what can we look for in this DVD?
It's just time to do it. I mean, you know, 4 years later almost in this band, it's time to do something like this. And like everybody that goes out on the road, we've all got our video cameras, and we've got probably thousands of hours of footage to wade through. And I just wanted to get it done now. I mean, why wait, basically?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what I'm saying.
I'm hungry to see it.
Yeah, and I think that the band is so hot,
Oh,
you know,
man.
right now. I mean, Z's on guitar and Mike Davis is on bass, and these two guys have brought yet another really incredible definition to the band, which is not to diss what Pat and Ray did, but, you know, when you change key players, you wonder what the hell's going to happen. But these guys have opened up something that wasn't there before, and I don't know what it is. It's intangible, but I mean, you hear it and you feel it. Especially for me as a singer, you know, all singers will tell you that their performance is inspired by what's coming from the rest of the guys. And when I hear what these guys are doing now, it just lifts me. I'm just elevated, and I just love that whole experience. So it's time to make a DVD, and hopefully it'll be out by the end of this year.
All right, Rob, thank you so much for being on the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show.
My pleasure. Thank you, Eric.
Peace out, man.
Thank you.
All right,
See you
this is
later.
the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with Rob Halford signing off. Bye-bye.